All right, teachers, in this video, I'm going to go over the definitive retirement calculator for teachers. Spent a lot of time developing this, and hopefully this is very beneficial to you. I do make a few assumptions, so if you think that these assumptions are a little too extreme, please leave a comment down below and let me know. In Texas and in other states, you could figure out the pension that you'll get when you finish teaching. In Texas, you take the average of your 5 highest annual salaries. The total percent that you'll get is the total years that you've worked times it by 2.3%. Now your annual annuity will be the percent times the average of those 5-year salaries. If you want to find your monthly annuity, just take your annual divided by 12. For different states, they'll have different percentages. So if you are not sure where to find that, and if you're not in Texas, let me know and I could help you find it. But these numbers are going to be based on Texas because that's where I work. Here's the definitive teacher retirement calculation. I'm going to be doing quite a few videos looking at my journey through this retirement to see how well I'm going. And if you want to figure out what your percents are and when you can retire, this calculating will help. Each month that you work, you will be putting in part of your annual service. Also, I would highly recommend to put money in a Roth IRA. Roth IRAs are money that comes out after taxes. They grow tax-free, and the key part is you can take it out tax-free. Each month that you put money into the Roth IRA, let's assume that it grows 10% a year, which is the average stock market rate. Then you're going to take that number, grow it out until you retire, so the number of years until retirement. Take that number, times it by 0.04, 4% withdrawal rate at that rate. And then to find the monthly, you divide that by 12. From this number, you want to add your pension amount. That is the amount that we just went over in terms of years of service times 2.3 in Texas. When those two numbers, when you add them up, is equal to your expenses when you retire, you can say that you are financially independent. You see a lot of FIRE calculations. For teaching, I think this is a very useful calculation to do. So again, take a Roth IRA, go to calculator that shows compound interest, put it at 10% a year, do that the number of years until you work, times by 0.04, divide by 12. From that, add your pension amount. Now, Roth IRAs will go up and down depending on what you invest in it. That's why you see this chart might go up, you might have some down years, but ideally you see a steady increase as you go to the right. Your pension amount, however, will be a more steady increase. If you know how many years you're working, usually your average salary will also be higher. So you're going to see a slight exponential growth like you see in this chart here. If you take the amount that's right here and you add it to the amount that's right here, that will be a useful calculation to do for retirement. So adding these graphs gives you motivation on your progress. One of the biggest things I see teachers doing is they're not really sure if they're close to retirement or not. They're working, they're putting in their years in. They're not quite sure if they can retire yet. And then a year or two before they think they want to retire, they start looking at these numbers. As a teacher, I think you should be thinking about this pretty frequently, especially if you're in the middle of your career. This also encourages continued investing. Just putting in money in your pension account could be enough if you work a lot of years. We're talking 30 plus years. But to get that calculation a little bit better on your side, you want to continue to invest. It also keeps yourself accountable. You can see how close you are to your goals. So here's my example. In Texas, you get 2.3% a year times the number of years you work, and it's the top 5 years' salary. Usually that will be the last 5 years you work. Last year I made about $65,000, times that by 2.3%, and that would give me an annual annuity of $1,495. If I want to figure out the monthly annuity, divide that by 12, and that is $124.58 a month. So the last year that I worked, whenever I retire, I will be getting $124.58 a month. That does not factor in taxes, by the way, and also inflation is something to think about. For the Roth IRA, I'm 38 years old. I plan to work until I'm 65. So any money that I'm putting in now, if I do 65 minus the 38, I get 27 years. So that means that money that's in my Roth IRA will be growing for 27 years. Let's assume a 10% return. If you go to the following website, moneychimp.com, it shows you a compound interest calculator. And on the chart I show here, if I put in $100 in my Roth IRA, just one time, and I let it grow for 27 years at 10% interest, the future value of that when I retire at 65 will be $1,311. So for my situation, your situation might be different if you have different number of years. Every $100 that I save in a Roth IRA now is worth about $1,300 at retirement. If I take out 4% of that Roth IRA money every year, 1,300 times 0.04 for calculator, you get $52, and that's per year. If I want to figure out the monthly, divide that by 12, and I get $4.33 every month. So what this means is every $100 I save right now, I could add $4.33 to my FI financial independence plan. Add that to my teacher pension. If that amount is equal to my expenses, I think I could reasonably retire at that point. There are a few issues with this plan though. One of them is I'm assuming a 10% return. It's hard to know what rate I'm going to get in my Roth IRA for the next 27 years. You might want to assume a lower percent, maybe closer to 8% if you're a little more conservative in your money. Also, will you teach every year? Are you going to take a break? If you have kids, are you going to take some time off to watch your kids? How much your pay increase will be? We're not sure exactly how much extra I'm going to make every year. I've talked to a few insurance agents and financial planners, and they assume that you could get pretty close to the inflation rate in your bonuses. I'm not actually counting that in these current numbers. Again, we don't know what the inflation rate is. Things will cost more when you retire, especially if you're much further out, like 20 plus years. What are your living expenses in retirement? It might be a little hard to tell. Health insurance might be quite a bit more. Maybe you don't have a mortgage anymore, so your house payment might be less. You might want to travel more, so all these numbers are a little tricky to figure out. A lot of financial planners recommend about 80%. If you can make 80% of your current pay, if you're near retirement, then you're in pretty good shape. Also, the taxes in retirement. One of the key parts of the Roth IRA is it's not taxed. You take out that money tax-free, so it actually helps us in our calculations. The pension will be taxed, though, at an income tax rate. So that is something you have to factor in. Also, there's different payout options. In Texas, you could do a partial lump sum, where you could take 1, 2, or 3 years of your pension right away. That will lower your benefit amount in the future, but I will be going over other videos on when this might be beneficial or not. Also, joint survivor, which I'll do. That means that if I pass away, my wife will get a percent of that pension as well. that does lower your payout. Now, some months, this financial independence will actually go down. Let's say the Roth IRA and the stock market goes down quite a bit in a certain month. You actually might be going backwards in some months. But regular contributions to your Roth IRA, continued working in your teacher account, that should greatly help your financial independence. If you have any questions about this plan, please send me an email, lancekaminsky@gmail.com. Feel free to also leave a comment down below. Now, one of the things that I am planning on doing is doing a series, probably once every month. I'm going to look at my current annuity and my Roth IRA, and then help determine how much money I would be getting in the future. Remember, the whole goal is to get to good standard of living. Ideally, at least 80% of your current pay will be your pension plus your Roth IRA.